Logan Paul has built up one of the most infamous reputations on YouTube, from letting his pets die to downright scamming his audience. You won't believe how dark this video gets. If there's one thing that Logan Paul has proven, it's that he might be the worst pet owner on YouTube. This is proved by how he looked after Kong, a fluffy little dog that Logan featured in many of his vlogs. Sounds cute, right? Well, things took a dark turn when Logan left Kong outside in a neighborhood known for coyote problems. Predictably, Kong didn't last long. Despite knowing the risks, Logan still chose to leave his pet in harm's way, which led to the inevitable tragedy. But did Logan learn his lesson? Logan's parrot mascot Maverick probably didn't think so. In a classic case of poor judgment, Logan left Maverick alone with his much larger dog, Ginger. Yep, you can guess what happened next. Maverick didn't survive the encounter. What did Logan do? He immediately shifted into merch mode, plugging Maverick's Instagram and merchandise right after breaking the news. Now, if 2 was not enough, Logan seemed to want to go 3 for 3 when he introduced Pearl the pig to the audience. However, Logan failed to check how large pigs actually grow. So after a while, Pearl nearly 10x'd in size. So Logan would do what any responsible pet owner would do, and ditched her immediately. Fast forward to 2023, and Pearl was found abandoned, injured, and suffering from severe infections. The internet quickly connected the dots back to Logan, who claimed he had rehomed Pearl, but whether he knew about Pearl's fate or not, it's clear he didn't go through the long-term care these animals needed. Logan Paul's track record with these pets isn't just a series of unfortunate events, it's a pattern of neglect and carelessness. And unfortunately, these pets aren't the only ones who have been hurt by Logan's reckless behaviour. It all started back in 2017, when Logan decided to one-up his brother, Jake Paul, in the most public way possible. Jake had just released a diss track called It's Everyday Bro, taking shots at anyone who crossed his path. But Logan, never one to back down, responded with his own diss track, The Fall of Jake Paul. What began as a music spat quickly escalated into something far more personal. Logan didn't just stop at dissing Jake, he brought Jake's ex-girlfriend, Alyssa Violet, into the mix. To make matters worse, the video for The Fall of Jake Paul ended with Logan seemingly kissing Alyssa, which sent shockwaves through their fan base and escalated the feud to a whole new level. Jake responded in kind, and what followed was a series of back and forth tracks and public jabs that made it clear that this wasn't just for show. The entire internet was watching as the Paul brothers aired their dirty laundry for the world stage to see. Eventually, the two brothers made up, and even released a song together titled I Love You Bro, but the damage was already done. Fans speculated that the whole drama was nothing more than a publicity stunt, but the lingering tension in their interactions, especially in their boxing careers, suggests that the wounds from this feud might not have fully healed. So, was this sibling rivalry just a way to grab views, or was it something more? Either way, it was one of the most public and personal controversies in Logan Paul's career, and it left a lasting mark on how the world sees the Paul brothers. Something else that might have also left a lasting mark on Logan was his beef with Dillon Danis, a feud that turned into one of the most chaotic and talked about fights in recent boxing history. For those who don't know, Dillon Danis is notorious for 2 things: being a high-level fighter and being an even higher level trash talker. So when he was offered a fight against Logan Paul as part of the X Series Prime card in 2023, Dillon saw this as the perfect opportunity to put his skills and his mouth to the test. But unfortunately for Logan, Dillon didn't just stick to the usual pre-fight banter. No, he went straight for Logan's most vulnerable spot, his fiancée, Nina Agdal. In the weeks leading up to the fight, Dillon flooded social media with posts mocking Nina's past relationships and digging up anything that could get under Logan's skin, and boy did it work. The internet was eating it up, and Dillon's following exploded as he became the villain that everyone loved to hate. Logan, of course, wasn't going to let this slide. He and Nina filed a lawsuit against Dillon for invasion of privacy privacy and disclosure of intimate images. But this wasn't the only hit Dylan took. When the day of the fight finally arrived, Logan absolutely wiped the floor with him. Despite all the trash talk, Dylan barely landed any punches, and the match ended with Logan as the clear victor. To add insult to injury, this was Dylan's first professional fight in years, and it seemed like it might just be his last. Talking about being insulted by Logan, let's talk about George Janko, a name that might just ring a bell to those who have watched the Impulsive podcast. George was brought on as a third co-host to add some fresh perspective to the show, but what should have been a great opportunity quickly turned into something much more toxic. From the get-go, George struggled to find his place on the podcast. It didn't help that Logan and the other hosts frequently made fun of him and made him the butt of their jokes. While a bit of banter is expected on a show like Impulsive, things got particularly nasty during episode 351, which featured comedian Bobby Lee. In that episode, George was the target of non-stop jabs, both from Bobby and Logan. The constant ridicule eventually pushed George to his breaking point, and he stormed off the set mid-episode. If you only saw that clip, you might think that George was overreacting to a harmless joke, but the reality was, it was much deeper. He had been enduring this type of treatment for a while, and the episode was simply his last straw. As time went on, George's appearance on the Impulsive podcast became less frequent until eventually he stopped showing up altogether. The final nail in the coffin came when Logan made a snide remark about George's new ventures, leading to George to tweet about his experience on the podcast, describing it as quote-unquote toxic. But it didn't stop there. George later revealed that Logan and his legal team were trying to control his business dealings, including dictating which sponsorships he could work with. Logan's response? He brushed off most of George's concerns, focusing more on the protecting of his image than addressing the issues raised. The fallout wasn't just about a friendship gone wrong, it was a clear example of how Logan's relentless drive for control and dominance extends even to those he considers friends. And for George, the only way to escape the toxicity was to walk away. Finally, let's dive into what might be Logan Paul's most infamous controversy yet, the CryptoZoo scandal. This wasn't just another case of bad behavior, it was a full-blown financial fiasco that left his fans holding the bag. In August 2021, Logan announced a new NFT project called CryptoZoo. The idea was simple: players would buy zoo tokens with real money, use them to purchase NFT eggs, and then hatch these eggs to create unique hybrid animals. These animals could supposedly generate more zoo tokens, which could be sold for real money. Sounds like a fun way to make cash, right? Well, not exactly. As the months passed, it became clear that something was seriously wrong. The eggs wouldn't hatch, the game wasn't functioning as promised, and the value of zoo tokens plummeted. Logan's loyal fans, who had trusted him with their money, were left with worthless digital assets. But the real bombshell came when investigative YouTuber CoffeeZilla released a 3-part documentary exposing the truth behind CryptoZoo. It turns out Logan had hired a bunch of shady developers, refused to pay them, and essentially abandoned the project while he was still promoting it to his fans. When the scandal broke, Logan's first instinct was to go on the attack, dropping a video where he basically said this: "CoffeeZilla, you're a liar, and I'm going to sue you." But this move backfired almost instantly, and Logan was forced to delete his response and issue a half-hearted apology, where he basically said this: "CoffeeZilla, you are not a liar, and I'm not going to sue you anymore." He then promised to refund the victims of CryptoZoo and finish the project, but to this day, many fans are still waiting for their money back, and if this wasn't bad enough, Logan is now facing a class action lawsuit for defrauding his investors. In the end, CryptoZoo wasn't just a failed project, it was a massive breach of trust that cost his fans millions, and damaged Logan's reputation in ways that might never be repaired. And while Logan may try and sweep this under the rug, the internet won't forget.